Now let's take a look at how the monitoring, analysis, and planning capabilities all come together in PerformancePoint Server. To do this, I'd like to invite Bruno Aziza to join me, and he's going to demonstrate the upcoming release of PerformancePoint Server 2007. So please welcome Bruno to the stage. Hey, Bruno.
Thank you, Jeff.
Go to it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bruno Aziza, and I'm very excited to show you Microsoft Office PerformancePoint Server 2007. In fact, I'm so excited about it that at the beginning of the show, of the keynote here, I wanted to come up and play the drums. But they didn't let me do that, so I'm going to focus on the demo here. In the context of this demo, I would like to tell you a little bit about the actor of this demo. Who is playing this role here? His name is John, and he runs manufacturing units at AdventureWorks. Now, John is not a business analyst. John is a person that has profit and loss responsibility, and he uses business intelligence throughout his day. In fact, he makes decisions relying on business intelligence on a daily basis. Tactical decisions, operational decisions, and strategic decisions. He is somebody we call at Microsoft a business decision maker. In fact, some of our customers call this type of person a difference maker because the decisions he makes have a particular impact on the performance of his company. Now, to make a difference with John, we need to make sure that we give him the tools that are integrated with his experience on a day-to-day basis. We give him high agility, but we also give him information that is aligned to his corporate performance, the corporate strategy of his company, so he has trust and confidence that the decisions he's making are aligned to that. The first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to go under John's performance dashboard. You can see here on the left, I have a scorecard that has all the metrics that my company is taking a look at when it comes to analyzing performance throughout the company. Now, let me fold this to give you a better sense of what really we're looking at. We're looking at 4 metrics: financial performance, customer satisfaction, operational excellence, and people commitment. You might recognize those themes or those perspectives to align to the balanced scorecard methodology. In fact, this is to say that PerformancePoint Server can be used to build scorecards aligned to this methodology. If you want to know more details in this, Dr. Kaplan himself will be here this week. But because this is Microsoft, the application is extremely flexible, and you can build just an EVE scorecard aligned to the business processes of your company. Now let's open this up to see a little bit more detail of this. You can see now I've got all the information, I've got all the metrics, not only their names, but their performance, how they're doing against my plan, my corporate plan, and I also have the owners, which is very important because to John it gives him a sense of how he's going to act on the information, and also help him drive accountability throughout his company. Now, John's not going to go into all the metrics here. He really wants to focus on the particular metrics that are going to require his attention. And he wants to know what's off target. So he's going to use the filtering capability inside PerformancePoint Server here to just bring the metrics that are off target. Now, you can see there's 4 of those: contribution margin, total back orders, number of defects reported, and acceptance rates. You can see again, you have the performance, their owners. But what you can see here on the right is that there's a strategy map tied to that. This is one of the big innovations inside the product, is we make sure that wherever you're looking at the information, it's tightly connected to all the interfaces that your end users are going to need to look at this information. So in fact, when you're looking at the strategy map here on the right that's built using Visio, it is connected to the scorecard that is right next to it. In fact, you can see here the exact same metrics are red. And not only is the information connected, but the color indicators are also going to change as the metrics gets updated. Now, that gives me also a sense of context, because now I can look at the total backorder metric. I can see it falls under customer satisfaction. I can see it's got a correlation with contribution margin percentage here. So now John doesn't only have information about particular metrics, he also knows how they fit within the context of his corporate strategy. And a strategy map really is just one example of how you can use this application. If you're in retail, imagine maybe a plant diagram, or maybe a shelf display, where you can really use the overlay capability inside Visio to be able to shine this information. So, in order to solve this problem, now that John has more information, any company would probably think that you want to pick up the phone here and then call Eric Rucker, who's the owner of this particular metric here, the total back order. But that's not really agility. What you want to have is inside an application like that is the ability for the owners of these metrics, for the owners of these problems, to collaborate with their managers. What we do here is we enable annotations to be present at the cell level inside the scorecard. Now that gives even further context to John, because now he not only knows the metric, its performance, the owner, but now the objective is while I want to fulfill demand for my customers, I also want to make sure I do that in line with the target of my company around margins. And these are the numbers you see right here. You see that my target for margins here is 31%, and my current performance is 30%. So as John is thinking about solving this problem, he not only has to solve the problem for his customers, but also has to do that in line with his margin target. If we go back down here now, you can see the same information here is being displayed. Now what's really important to understand here is I'm not linking the sales from the top table here to the bottom table. The information is managed by PerformancePoint server, and this really guarantees you that you have the consistency of information throughout the different roles of your company and throughout those people that need to make decisions on that. Now you'd think that because this is Excel, I can go in and just interact with the information the way I want it. And in fact, customers might complain that often when they get errors through those spreadsheets, it's because end users start just messing with the sales. Should John be able to change the demand forecast number? Well, that's not his forecast, but let's try and do that, just for the fun of it. Okay, well, you can see now that PerformancePoint server is really enforcing security. This is security centrally managed because I know his role, I know his responsibility, I know what he can change and what he cannot change. In fact, PerformancePoint server tells him specifically the business drivers of this forecast, and it highlights it for him here in yellow. The solutions to John's problem, he's got two ways of addressing it. He can either buy bikes, and when he does that, then he can go in and resell them, or he can build more bikes. Of course, in order for me to make a good decision as being John here, I've got to know the margins I'm working with. And you can see this information here being displayed for him. My resale margin on buy is substantially lower than my production margin for building. You can see here, again using great formatting inside Excel, you're able to right away see that the solution to this problem is probably to go out and build more of these bikes. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to change this. You can see also that my margin here is back to 31%. That's great. But I also notice that there's another problem I created. You can see here, my total build at the bottom line is red. And you can see here, in fact, what I've done is I've planned to build over my thing. Let's take a look at a couple of other bikes here. I can see here this bike, this particular bike here, has the same margin whether I buy or whether I build. So maybe the solution for me would actually to compensate this overbuilding capacity planning for this line. So let's take off 5,000 units here and add them right here. So now I can reallocate my numbers. Let's run that forecast and see what it looked like. Which is really interesting here because what I'm really doing here is what-if analysis. I mean, it's a very simple scenario, but imagine how powerful this would be when you're relying on sophisticated models. Now, you can see that right away now I've been able to do this. I've been able to solve my backorder problem, and I'm back on track with my building capacity. I'm also in line with my contribution margin. So this is great, and I'm really happy because I want to submit this forecast. However, there's a little bit of information I have to give to my boss who is going to approve this forecast in order to build trust for him to be able to approve this forecast. You see I've changed numbers. It's very difficult now for me to communicate to my boss, the changes I've just made. I guess I could pick up the phone and do that. But when you at the cell level, in fact here, you can see I'm typing very fast as well. I'm able to say, you know what? We need to reallocate the production. We have a lot more people here on the floor. If you have more questions, and I really hope to talk to you for the rest of the week, have a great conference. Thank you.
Perfect, Bruno. Thanks very much. Well, I think Bruno gave you a